3 minutes to go before folks hit the road, which looks to be clogged by the bulls at this hour. The Dow might just see its first winning streak in 5 weeks. We're up 35 points with 4 minutes to go. Troy Gayeski is senior portfolio manager at SkyBridge Capital with about, what now, $12.5 billion in assets under management. Okay, we got a GDP revision today. It's better than the last ones. We saw growth of 0.8%, still missed estimates, but Janet Yellen's talking about a possible rate hike soon. What do you see? Stay in stocks for the second half and through the summer?
Well, look, stocks are somewhat elevated in terms of valuations right now, particularly with the Fed in play. So if you're going to stay in stocks, just be realistic that you're not going to have meaningful upside until economic growth is strong enough to drive earnings better than expectations. So we don't think you should sell in May and go away, but you should be prepared for a more volatile summer than we had early in last year's spring.
And 1 week from today, folks, please, I need to remind you, we're getting the May jobs report, so that could add volatility. But still, stocks are a better bet, aren't they, at this point, than treasuries at 1.8 something percent?
Yeah, so from our perspective, somewhere in between would be good. Right. Owning the debt securities of certain U.S. assets that have very high yields, because all you need to make money there is not to have a collapse of the economy. The one issue with stocks right now is, given that they're traded at 17.5 times earnings, you know, you need continued more good news with the Fed in play. So, but don't hide in a bunker and sell because you think the world's going to end, because it's not.
Don't do that, people. Not a good thing to do, I guess, because if you're in, stay in, because Troy's saying the volatility will be very tough to actually time the market.
That's correct.
We got an interesting cell phone report of it possibly causing cancer. The report is slightly problematic with the way they did it, but let's move forward. You say you like wireless spectrum names out there.
Yeah, so hedge funds have been criticized quite a bit recently in the press, unfortunately, but one of the unique things that hedge funds can do is buy assets that are hard to access elsewhere. So we have one position through an underlying manager where they bought the spectrum in a bankruptcy. They own the equity of a corporation that owns the spectrum, and that spectrum's marked materially below where the spectrum's recently traded in the FCC auctions. So there's been a big grab for spectrum. There's insatiable demand for wireless applications but very limited supply. So we think that gives very good upside with very little downside. And whether the Fed hikes in June, July, September, China has a hard landing or not, we think this could be extremely profitable. So we love that position right now.
Yeah, and you know, if you just look at the names in the aggregate, it could be anything from a Verizon or an AT&T or T-Mobile to the names like Dish, who have been very aggressive in acquiring something that's finite. As we wrap up this day and we're going into the weekend, it looks like the bulls are still in play. Look, it's thin volume, but the Dow's up 33 points. You know, what's your message to investors right now?
Well, our message is stay engaged. Don't hide or sell out because you think a recession's imminent, because it's not. Realize markets are going to be more volatile at this stage of the game because the Fed is going to tighten monetary policy, but where you can find good returns without taking undue risk, you should do that. Don't be 100% equities, don't be 100% bonds. Find something somewhere in between.
It's great to see you. Troy Gayeski of SkyBridge Capital. Great operation. And folks, we are looking at the first week in 5 that the Dow will close up. Yes, the losing streak has been snapped. The closing bell coming in right now for this holiday weekend. We want to thank our veterans